So you're thinking of moving to Palos Verdes, but you've heard a few things you aren't quite sure are true. In this video, I'm going to cover 5 myths about Palos Verdes. My name is Tony Butita. I'm a local realtor here in Palos Verdes in the South Bay, so let's just dive into a few myths about Palos Verdes. Myth number 1. You need to leave the peninsula to go shopping. Now, this might depend on what you mean by shopping, but a lot of people think that in order to get groceries or clothing or everyday goods that you need to constantly be leaving the hill. In reality, this isn't really true. On the channel here, I did a video called Palos Verdes Overview, and in that video I talk about how the western side of the peninsula is typically more sought after because that's the side where you're going to find most of the shopping and the schools. When it comes to groceries, you'll actually find 4 major grocery stores up here. So right in the heart of the western side of the peninsula, you'll find Peninsula Center, and the major grocery store at that shopping center is going to be Pavilions. Right down the street, at the Silver Spur Town and Country Shopping Center, you'll find the local Bristol Farms. Now, if you head down Hawthorne towards the back of the hill, you'll pass the local Ralph's Market, and when you get to the end of Hawthorne, which dead ends into PV Drive West, you'll find the local Trader Joe's. Between these 4 major grocery stores, you should be able to get almost everything you're looking for. Now, if you're a big fan of something like Whole Foods and you like to do your shopping at Whole Foods Market, you'll actually find one right down in Torrance, just off the hill, off of Crenshaw Boulevard, which is about a 10 to 15 minute drive. You'll also find a smaller Whole Foods up in Redondo, which is about a 15 to 20 minute drive from the peninsula. In addition to the 4 major grocery stores, you'll find a small grocery store in Lanada Bay Plaza called Lanada Market and Deli. This is a small grocery store, but will have quite a few options, as well as a deli with sandwiches and other prepared foods. Over in the Malaga Cove Plaza, you'll find the Malaga Cove Ranch Market, which will have less options, but there will be a small selection of produce and grocery items for quick pickup. Here you'll also find a deli, a bakery, and a beer and wine bar. You'll also find 2 7-Eleven locations on top of the hill, both on Hawthorne Boulevard. And if we circle back to Peninsula Center, you'll find the local Target, which also has a decent selection of grocery items. In addition to these, you have your local Rite Aid and CVS. So between all of these options, you should be able to get quite a bit of what you're looking for on a daily or even weekly basis. If you're looking for a good hardware store, Lanada Bay Plaza has an excellent hardware store. If you're looking for clothing options, you can find clothing at the local Target in Peninsula Center, as well as the Old Navy and TJ Maxx in Peninsula Center. And then right next door at the PV Mall, you've got Talbot's and Chico's. Myth 2, there's nothing to do at night. So Palos Verdes isn't exactly the most happening place for nightlife in Los Angeles. Let's get that straight. But that doesn't mean there's absolutely nothing to do up here after dark. I mean, if you're looking for like a nightclub atmosphere, right, Palos Verdes is not the place you're gonna get that. But if you're just looking for a place you can go and have a couple of drinks with friends, there's quite a few options up here. One place to start would be the Terranea Resort. A great place to go for some late night drinks and conversation with friends would be the Lobby Bar and Terrace. Open until midnight Sunday through Thursday and 1 a.m. Friday and Saturday. This is a great place to grab a couple drinks, hear some live music, and enjoy the gorgeous surroundings of the resort. If you're looking for more of a dive bar, then you want to head down the street to Golden Cove, where you'll find the Peninsula Tap House. The Tap House is a small bar, typically open till about 10 p.m. and then 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. The Tap House has an excellent selection of beer and a pretty decent food and wine menu as well. If you're looking for more spirits and a place that's less busy than Terranea, you can head to the bar at Avenue Italy, which is also located in Golden Cove. If you're hoping to go out with some friends and maybe catch a game while having some drinks and food, then Salsa Verde might be your spot. The recently opened successful Mexican restaurant located in Lanada Bay has an excellent bar with an array of televisions. If going out and getting drinks with friends is not really what you're looking for, you can always catch dinner and a movie by heading over to the PV Mall and going to the Regal Theater that's located there. There's also a pretty killer ice rink down there, which is now called LA Kings Ice. So if you and the family want to go ice skating, you can certainly head there as well. Myth 3, there's nowhere to eat. So myth 2 kind of bleeds right into myth number 3, which is that there's not really much to eat up here. In reality, there's actually quite a few restaurants located in Palos Verdes. If you watch the pros and cons video here on the channel, one thing I mentioned as a possible con is that there actually aren't very many fancy sit-down restaurants located up in Palos Verdes. In terms of the number of restaurants though up here, there's like 40 different places to choose from. There's also all kinds of different types of food. If you're looking for Mexican food, there's a handful of options in terms of Mexican restaurants up here. If you like Italian, there's 3 different Italian restaurants. There's 4 or 5 different pizza places. There's 2 sushi restaurants. There's 2 Thai food restaurants, and there's a great pho restaurant as well. In addition to that, you'll find 4 Starbucks locations and 3 Yellow Vase locations up here as well. Now, if you're looking for sit-down restaurants, there are options up here. One place to look is the Terranea Resort. You got Marcel, which is their fine dining option, and then you have Catalina Kitchen, which is their main restaurant, which is also excellent. If you move over to Golden Cove, you have Avenue Italy, Osaka Sushi Restaurant, and you have Swan Thai. On top of the hill, you'll find Good Stuff, Creme de la Crepe, a couple of other Italian restaurants in Mama Toronto and Giorgio's, and then of course the old staple on the hill, which is the Red Onion, Mexican restaurant that's been up here since the 1960s, arguably the most popular restaurant up here on the peninsula. And then as mentioned before, down in Lanada Bay, you have a new Mexican restaurant which opened up a few years ago called Salsa Verde. One last place to highlight would be an excellent pho restaurant up here, and that would be Pho Hana. Located in Peninsula Center, this is an excellent spot to get a great meal. Myth number 4, landslides. All right, so some of you probably saw on the news that last year there were a collection of homes that kind of slid off into one of the canyons up here. The news made it sound like this was an overnight occurrence and that this is happening all the time. This actually spooked a few buyers from moving up here because they just thought every home's like falling into a cliff or something. Believe it or not, most homes up here don't fall into canyons. Last year there was a collection of homes in this neighborhood right here which slid a little bit into this canyon. Now, the news made it sound like this happened overnight, and I'm not sure that's quite the case. I'm not really going to comment fully on this now because I'd like the full report to come out to be then released to the public, but I want to make one thing very clear. This is not a common occurrence up here, and this is not something to be worried about. Now, there is an area on the back of the hill that since the early 1950s has experienced kind of constant land movement. This area is around Portuguese Bend. If you've ever driven on the back of the peninsula on Palos Verdes Drive South, there's a section of the road that's very, very bumpy and is almost always constantly under repair. Now, there's not really any homes that are built around this area, but there are homes around there. There are some neighborhoods and homes that have been affected by this, but if this is something that's really of a concern to you, if you're looking to move here, make sure you talk to a local or a local agent like myself who really knows this area. And if you're concerned about a particular property, we can always get a geological or structural engineer report to put your mind at ease that the property is sound. Myth number 5. All the homes are mansions. One thing that was interesting and slightly annoying about growing up here is that people that weren't from Palos Verdes sometimes assumed that this was like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, or that we all lived in mansions and had 7 cars. Now, will you find giant, luxurious, beautiful homes up here and a lot of mansions? Sure. But there's a lot of just your everyday run-of-the-mill South Bay home up here as well. In the Palos Verdes overview video I did on this channel, there was a pricing breakdown for 2023 amongst the 4 cities you'll find up here on the peninsula. And what you'll notice in that breakdown is that there was over 100 homes sold up here last year between 1.5 and 2 million. There were actually quite a few sold under the 1.5 million mark as well. Now, if you're looking for a condo or townhome, you'll find options in the 500,000 range all the way up to 1.5 million as well. So while you'll find luxury cars, extravagant homes, and multi-million-dollar properties in Palos Verdes, you don't need to be a millionaire to buy a home up here. So hopefully this clears up a few of the myths I've heard and my clients have heard about Palos Verdes. If you found this video to be helpful, this one might be helpful as well. If you're thinking about moving to Palos Verdes or the South Bay, or maybe you already live here and you want to buy or sell something, feel free to shoot me a text, send me an email, give me a call. I'd be happy to help you in any way that I can. Thanks for watching. Hope wherever you are, you're doing great. See you next time.